My world collapsed when that man's phone screen lit up. In the video, Emma is tied to a chair, her mouth taped shut, her eyes filled with terror. My 5-year-old daughter, my whole world, is being used as a bargaining chip in some cold warehouse. Druka has 12 hours, a broken English translation appeared below the Russian subtitles, to hand over control of the port, or the child will die. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold the phone.
Welcome to Airless's Romance Stories. Read the entire novel in one go. Message or comment to tell me what kind of story you'd like to read. Subscribe to the channel for daily updates. Airless reminds you, the story begins now.
Megan, Alex's voice came through the phone, chillingly calm. I know. I received the same video 2 minutes ago. Where are you? At home, Alex, they'll kill her. No, his voice was sharp as a knife. As long as she has value, she won't. Listen to me, lock the door. Marcus will be there in 10 minutes. I can't just wait. Megan, he interrupted me, a crack finally appearing in his voice. I swear, I will bring her back, believe me. The call ended. I slumped onto the sofa, staring at the video, watching my daughter's terrified face over and over again. How did all this happen? 3 months ago, I was a desperate single mother seeking refuge in a coffee shop on a stormy night. Now, I've fallen in love with a mafia boss, and my daughter is paying the price. Let me start from the beginning, from that rainy night that changed everything. 3 months ago, I stuffed the last piece of photography equipment into my bag and glanced at my phone. 11 missed calls from parking enforcement offices. My stomach churned, and I knew something was wrong even before I checked the text message. The vehicle has been towed from the hotel's loading area. Please retrieve it within 24 hours or additional charges will apply. Professional photographers don't even earn enough to cover the cost of such foolishness. Emma tugged at my jacket, her small face tense with exhaustion. Mom, I am hungry. I know, honey. We'll go get something to eat soon. Outside the hotel's glass doors, rain poured down like a waterfall. It wasn't the gentle autumn rain we had experienced upon arrival, but a torrential downpour that could soak you through in seconds, turn city streets into rivers, and make taxi drivers vanish without a trace. I took out my wallet and counted the money left after paying this month's overdue electricity bill and last month's late fee for Emma's daycare. $43. The towing fee alone was $200, plus parking fees, and the original parking ticket. I don't have that money. It won't be available until the next customer pays, which could take days or weeks, depending on the mood of their accounting department. Mom. Emma's voice was soft and tired. She was very well, behaved all evening, sitting quietly in a corner of the banquet hall, coloring and drawing while I worked. She is always so good, my daughter. Too good for a 5-year-old. She should have been at home in her pajamas, not standing in the hotel lobby at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Let's find a dry place and wait. I tried to sound confident. The rain will stop soon. Lies taste bitter. The weather app shows the downpour will continue for at least another 2 hours. Across the street, a cafe radiated a warm glow. The kind of place with marble countertops and $12 lattes, where people in expensive coats sipped espresso, pretending the outside world didn't exist. I would never normally go into a place like that, but Emma was shivering despite wearing a jacket, and I needed to call someone, Anyan. When we pushed open the heavy door, the cafe was packed with people. Every table was occupied, and every chair had been claimed. A warm feeling washes over you, mixed with the rich aroma of coffee and the smell of some kind of baked goods. Emma clung to my legs, struggling to breathe amidst the cacophony of the crowd. I scanned the room in despair. At the back, at a table, sat only one person, a dark-haired man reading what looked like an Italian newspaper. His espresso cup remained untouched. Despair triumphed over pride. I learned that long ago. I walked toward his table. His jacket was still dripping wet. "Excuse me, may I bother you?" I said. "Would you mind if we sat here? We're just waiting for the downpour to pass. All the other places are full." He looked up. I was drawn to the deepest brown eyes I had ever seen. Not black, but a deep amber brown, like expensive whiskey looking up at the light. His face was sharply defined, with a strong jawline covered in meticulously groomed stubble, and high cheekbones hinting at his Italian heritage. No scars, no blemishes, only the kind of masculine beauty fit for a magazine cover, not for a 9 p.m. New York cafe from behind. He looked younger than I expected, probably in his 30s. Even sitting, he was very tall, easily over 6 feet, with the athletic physique that came from real physical labor rather than just fitness. His gaze shifted from me to Emma, watching her wet, golden curls cling to her small face, and how she was still trembling even after we were inside. "Sit down," he said. It wasn't a question, it was a command. But it was spoken very gently. His accent was almost imperceptible, except for a slight musicality in the word, confirming that the Italian newspaper was not just for show. I pulled out a chair and helped Emma sit down in the one next to me. She was so quiet, which meant she was either exhausted or about to get sick. "Please don't get sick. I can't afford the medical bills." The man folded the newspaper with precise movements and raised one hand. Immediately, a waiter appeared, moving faster than any waiter I had ever seen. "Give this girl a hot chocolate," the man said, still looking at Emma. "With extra marshmallows and some soup, hot. Tomato soup would be even better if you had some." "Coming right away, Mr. DeRuca," the waiter said, already backing away. "Wait, I didn't order," I began. But the man's attention had already returned to me. "She is cold," he said simply, "and hungry." It wasn't a question, it was a statement of fact, yet it stung me. Yes, my daughter was cold and hungry, because I couldn't afford the towing fee. I couldn't afford the taxi in the downpour. I couldn't afford anything except survival. "Thank you," I managed to say, "but I can pay for it myself. It has been taken care of." He leaned back slightly, scrutinizing me with an intensity that sent chills down my spine. Not entirely a threat, but definitely as if he were used to being listened to and obeyed. "You are working tonight? There is a company event upstairs." How did he know? I glanced down at my clothes and realized my camera bag was still sticking out, the logo facing outwards. The hotel name was probably printed on something. Yes, photographer, freelancer. I tried to sit up straight, realizing what I looked like. A soaked jacket, hair falling out of my ponytail, and mascara probably smudged. Very professional. I can tell. His lips curled slightly upward, not quite a smile, but very close. "You have that look in your eyes, always observing, always composing." The waiter returned with astonishing speed, placing down a cup of hot chocolate piled high with marshmallows, which made Emma's eyes widen. Next came a bowl of soup, steaming hot. "Eat up, Piccolo," the man said to Emma, his voice gentler than it was to me. Emma looked at me for permission. I nodded, and she immediately took the cup with both hands and carefully brought it to her lips. "My name is Megan," I said, feeling I should at least introduce myself to this stranger who was buying dinner for my daughter. "Megan Collins, this is Emma." "Alex," he replied. "Alex DeRuca." The name meant nothing to me, but the way he said it implied that it should. It was like a test to see if I could recognize it. I don't know him. I was too busy watching Emma drink hot chocolate, and as I watched the color return to her cheeks, I felt the knot in my chest loosen a little. "Do you live in the city?" Alex asked, engaging in a strangely formal conversation. "Queens. We're just waiting for the rain to stop before going home." His eyes shifted to the window. The rain was still pouring down. "You'll be waiting a long time." I took out my phone and checked again. My friend Sarah still hadn't replied. Maybe she could lend me some money. There was no miraculous solution to my towing predicament. Only the weather app confirmed my miserable situation. Alex looked at me, not missing a thing. I had an uneasy feeling. He could read the problem accurately and see the calculations I was making in my head. The towing fee to cover the rent and taking a taxi home to cover walking in the downpour. My camera bag was at my feet, and Alex's expression changed slightly when he looked at it. "You dropped this," he said, pulling my business card from his jacket pocket. "The corners are a little damp, and the professional headshot I took 3 years ago, which cost me too much money, is staring at me. I don't remember losing my business card, but my bag spilled earlier because I was in a hurry to film the CEO cutting the cake." "Oh, thank you." "I've been looking for a photographer," Alex said, placing his business card on the table between us. For a family event, not a corporate event, something more private. I blinked. What kind of activity? It is my mother's birthday, a dinner party. 60 guests, maybe more. I need someone to take photos all night, candid shots, and some formal portraits. He paused. I looked at your portfolio online. Your work is very good, natural, unpretentious. He looked up my information based on a dropped business card, within an hour. This is incredibly flattering, but I am sure there are more famous photographers out there. I prefer your style. Again, it is not a request, it is a statement of fact. The event is in 10 days. I can provide an advance payment if it helps with scheduling. 10 days. Quickly, but not impossible. And the advance payment means I have the money now, which is exactly what I need. What kind of prepayment? The question was directed more directly than I expected, but subtlety seemed pointless. Alex uttered a number that made me hold my breath. That is more than what I usually charge for the whole event, and he offered to pay in advance. Very generous, I said cautiously, a hint of doubt creeping in. Very generous to a photographer I just met. I make decisions quickly, he said, his gaze fixed on me. I pay a premium for quality work. Is there a problem with that? Have. Every instinct I've cultivated during the past 2 years of struggling alone is screaming. When something seems too good to be true, it is usually fake. When a strange man offers you money, he wants something in return. When an opportunity falls into your lap, it is often a trap. But Emma is drinking hot chocolate, warm and safe. I owe $200 to get the car back. I only have $43. No, I heard myself say. It is okay. Alex took out his phone, tapped a few times, and then looked at me. I need your phone number. My driver will pick you up tomorrow to see the venue and discuss the details. I gave him the number and watched him type it in with the same precise movements. Every movement he made was controlled and measured. The advance payment will be transferred tonight, he said. You should see it in your account by tomorrow morning. You don't even know my bank information. Your business card has a website, and your website has a payment portal, he said, as if it were self-evident. That is true, but it still feels offensive. It is as if he has seen too much and knows too much. Emma had already drunk half of the soup in front of her, and she began to doze off in her chair, exhaustion overcoming hunger. We should go, I said, even though the rain hadn't stopped. Here is the table back to you. I'll take you. I automatically started to refuse, but Alex had already stood up, put on a black coat that looked more expensive than my monthly rent. There is no need. I tried it anyway. It is pouring rain outside. You don't have a car, and you have a tired child, he stated, not arguing. I have a car and a driver. It is practical. He wasn't wrong, and my choices were so few they were practically non-existent. I nodded. I was too tired to argue anymore. Alex walked to the counter, exchanged a few brief words with the person behind him, and the money changed hands, though I didn't see much of it. When he returned, he was carrying Emma's jacket, which had been hanging on her chair. Come on, Piccolo, he said softly, helping Emma put on her jacket with surprising gentleness. It is time to go home. Emma looked up at him sleepily. Are you a prince? This question caught him off guard. For the first time since we sat down, his expression shifted to something almost human, almost warm. Why do you think that? He asked, squatting down to look her in the eye. You are in the castle, Emma said, gesturing vaguely towards the elegant cafe, and you are helping us, just like in the stories. Alex's lips curved into a genuine smile which transformed his entire face, making him look younger and less intimidating. Not a prince, he said. Just someone who doesn't like seeing people cold and hungry. Outside, a black sedan was waiting by the roadside. It wasn't a taxi, nor an Uber, but a sedan with tinted windows, and the driver opened an umbrella as soon as he appeared. The driver silently opened the rear door, his movements efficient. He was as imposing as a wall, with broad, muscular shoulders and alert eyes, suggesting a military or security background. I hesitated at the car door. Some primal part of my brain was screaming a warning, getting into a car with a stranger, the first rule for staying safe in the city. But Emma had already climbed inside, drawn by the dry warmth, while Alex waited patiently. His shoulders soaked by the rain, I got on the bus. The car smelled of leather and some kind of woody scent, expensive cedar or sandalwood. Alex slid in next to me, keeping a cautious distance, while Emma curled up in a seat some distance away, her head already dozing off. The driver smoothly pulled away from the roadside, and we merged into the sparse traffic of the late night. I gave him the address in Queens, and he didn't seem to think it was insignificant compared to where Alex DeLuca lived. The silence inside the car felt heavy. I stared out the window, watching the city blur by, trying to understand this night, trying to convince myself that this was normal, just a lucky turning point. Alex didn't speak, didn't take out his phone, didn't do anything. He simply existed in the space next to me with the same controlled stillness. Halfway through the drive, Emma's soft voice broke the silence. "Does the prince have a castle?" Alex glanced at her, then looked at me with something like pleasure in his dark eyes. "Some do," he told her. "Do you have a castle?" Something like that. Emma was seriously processing this information. "Mom," said, "the castle no longer exists. It only exists in books. Your mother is very wise," Alex said. But he was looking at me now, not Emma. But sometimes reality surprises us. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. 40 minutes later, the car stopped downstairs, and the rain finally began to subside. It looked exactly like it, a dilapidated apartment building in a once glorious neighborhood. Graffiti covered the walls, security lights were broken, and trash piled up in the corners. Alex's expression remained unchanged as he looked at it, which was somehow worse than showing disgust. "Thank you for bringing us back," I said, picking up Emma, who was now fast asleep. "There is dinner and work. You don't have to do all this." "Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Alex said, instead of accepting my thanks. "The driver will be here. I'll be ready." I carried Emma to the building entrance, her familiar and comfortable weight pressed against my chest. At the doorway, I turned around, a certain impulse making me look back. Alex hadn't driven away yet. He was sitting in the back seat, watching through the car window. To make sure I got in safely, I realized. This realization did something strange to my chest, loosening something that had been tense for months. I waved awkwardly once, then pushed open the door and entered the lobby, which smelled musty and smelled of old cooking fumes. By the time I carried Emma upstairs, changed her into her pajamas, and tucked her into bed, it was already past 11 o'clock. Before collapsing onto my bed, I checked my phone one last time. A notification is flashing on the screen. Bank deposit. The exact amount was promised by Alex. The money has already been transferred. I stared at it for a long time, at the evidence of what had actually happened tonight. I can get the car back tomorrow. At least for now, the desperate struggle for survival can be eased. But after being freed from this burden, a question has been troubling me. Why would Alex DeLuca, whoever he is, decide to help a strange photographer and her daughter in a cafe? What does he really want? I fell asleep before finding the answer. Exhaustion overwhelmed me. I will see him again tomorrow, see his castle, whatever that means. Tomorrow I can start worrying about the price he paid for his generosity. Tonight, Emma is warm, well-fed, and safe. I will accept this victory, no matter how short it may be. Morning came too quickly. Emma was jumping on my bed at 8 o'clock, fully dressed and asking for breakfast, which told me she had recovered from last night's exhaustion. Kids are so resilient. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. My phone shows the bank deposit is real, which means today is real, which means I am about to see Alex DeLuca's castle and figure out exactly what I promised. At 9:45, we were both dressed neatly. Emma wore her favorite purple dress with a butterfly pattern, insisting that she had to dress beautifully to go to the castle. I chose black jeans and a gray sweater, professional but not overly deliberate. My photography equipment was clean and tidy, ready to assess the location. The black sedan arrived precisely at 10 a.m. The same car, the same driver, appeared with the same silent efficiency and opened the door. "Good morning," I tried to say. "Good morning, Miss Collins," he replied, his voice surprisingly gentle for a man of such a guard-like build. "I am Marcus. Mr. Drucker asked me to make sure you are comfortable." Marcus, at least. Now the silent driver has a name. The drive took us out of Queens through Manhattan and across a bridge I didn't recognize. We eventually arrived at a place in the city I had never been before, where the streets were lined with trees and the houses were situated behind gates, rather than stacked together. We turned onto a private road, and I understood what Emma meant by the castle. Druka Manor is not a castle, but it is not far off. A 3-story brick mansion sits at the end of a winding driveway, surrounded by manicured gardens. Its maintenance costs probably exceed my annual income. The iron gate opened automatically as we approached, and cameras were visible at multiple points around the area. This is not just wealth. This is the kind of wealth that needs security. Wow. Emma held her breath and pressed her face against the car window. Marcus drove to the front door, where Alex was waiting. He was wearing dark gray trousers and a black sweater, looking both casual and expensive. He had his hands in his pockets and watched us approach. He opened Emma's car door himself and crouched down to her height. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" Emma nodded shyly. "Very good." Alex straightened up, turning his attention to me as I got out of the car. "Megan, thank you for coming." "Thank you for the advance payment," I replied professionally. "It arrived this morning. As promised," he gestured towards the house. "Come, let me show you the event venue. We can discuss what you need." The interior matches the exterior. High ceilings, crown, shaped moldings, and hardwood floors that gleam like glass. It looks like an original work of art, and it probably is. Everything is screaming for old money, generational wealth. The kind of wealth that doesn't need to be proclaimed because everyone already knows it. Alex led us through a formal living room that looked like a museum, along a hallway lined with family photos. I tried not to stare too obviously at the photos. Alex as a teenager, already quite serious, an older couple, surely his parents, a young man with Alex's features, but with softer, less intense edges. We came to a sunroom, overlooking the garden that stretched out to the distant wall. With windows on 3 sides, the space was filled with light, and I could already see the potential for taking photos. This kind of natural light is a gift. "The dinner party is here," Alex explained. "The tables are arranged in a U shape, about 60 guests. My mother prefers an intimate atmosphere even when hosting large gatherings." I took out my phone and started recording the lighting conditions, the best angle, and the place where I could position myself to remain inconspicuous. The professional mode activated, overcoming my tension in this overwhelming house. Emma walked to the window and was drawn to the commotion in the garden. I followed her gaze and saw an older woman in an elegant cream-colored dress tending to a rose bush. Her dark hair, streaked with silver, was combed back. The woman looked up, perhaps sensing that she was being watched. Her eyes found the window, and then found Emma standing there against the light. She remained completely still. Even from this distance, I could see the shock on her face. Then something else. Recognition, perhaps, or memory. She covered her mouth with her hand. "That is my mother," Alex said softly, having moved to stand beside me. His voice had changed, softened. "Isabella." The woman put down her garden shears and walked toward the house with a clear purpose. Alex moved to greet her, and I heard the back door open, followed by rapid Italian that I couldn't understand. Isabella walks into the sunroom, bringing with her the energy that fills the space, just like the weather. She was beautiful, with the beauty of a woman who had lived a rich life. The wrinkles at the corners of her eyes spoke of equal laughter and tears. But she wasn't looking at Alex. She was looking at Emma, who had turned away from the window and was now standing uncertainly, sensing the intensity of her attention. "Mio Dio," Isabella whispered. "Mom," Alex said gently, switching to English. "This is Megan Collins, the photographer I told you about, and her daughter Emma." Isabella blinked, as if remembering herself. She turned to me with a warm smile, but her eyes kept drifting back to Emma. "Forgive me," she said, her accent heavy with Alex's. "You must think I am strange. It is just, you remind me of someone, Kara, my granddaughter." Alex offered softly, answering the question I hadn't asked. "Sophia, we lost her 10 years ago." The weight of those words settled in the room. I looked at Emma, through Isabella's eyes, golden curls, petite figure, perhaps the same age, the same naivete fae that made the world seem safe, when in fact the world was not safe. "I am sorry," I said. "That is not enough to express the immeasurable loss." Isabella waved it away, but her eyes were bright. "It was a long time ago, but But seeing your daughter, her voice trailed off. Then he seemed to cheer up. You two stay for lunch. Yes, both of you, I insist. Alex opened his mouth, perhaps to explain that we were there to discuss work, but Isabella's expression left no room for argument. This is a woman who is used to doing whatever she wants. We don't want to disturb you, I said. You haven't bothered me, you are being treated. Isabella's smile became genuine. Please, this makes me very happy. Emma looked up at me hopefully. She has been so well behaved lately, so patient with all the upheavals in our lives. There is no harm in having lunch. Okay, I agree. Thank you. Isabella was delighted and then reached out her hand to Emma. Come on, Piccola, you can help me set the table. Do you know how to fold napkins? Emma shook her head, but without hesitation took Isabella's hand. Me, daughter, who is usually shy around strangers, followed this elegant woman as if they had known each other all their lives. As I watched them leave, I felt something twisting in my chest. She is safe, Alex said, sensing my tension. My mother would die before her child gets hurt in her care. The wording was strange, yet very specific, as if he had indeed considered that scenario. Tell me about Sophia, I said, instead of talking about that strange thing. Alex moved to the window and looked out at the garden. She is 4 years old, my brother Christopher's daughter. There was an incident, a territorial dispute with a rival group. Sophia got caught in the crossfire. Rival organization, not a rival company, not a competing enterprise. This wording confirms what I've been suspecting since last night. What kind of business do you do? He turned to face me, his expression unreadable. Import and export logistics, security consulting, various interests. Both are technically legal. Both are so vague that they can refer to anything. Those organizations with which you have disputes? I don't trust competitors who engage in civilized negotiation. His tone clearly indicated that the topic was over. Come, let me show you the rest of the field while my mother is requisitioning your daughter. We'll spend the next 30 minutes discussing lighting, timeline, and shooting list. I tried to focus on my work, ignoring the way Alex's presence seemed to fill any room we were in. He paid close attention to detail and asked clever questions about composition and candid versus posed shots. He, I noticed, always positioned himself between me and the doorway, always watching the exit, and always seemed aware of every sound in the house. This is a man living a life of anticipated danger. A clattering sound somewhere in the house made us both turn around. Then came a raised voice, one of which was muffled and angry. Alex's entire attitude changed. The polite host disappeared, replaced by something colder and tougher. Stay here. He left before I could respond, heading straight for the commotion. I was definitely not there. I followed, keeping my distance, but needed to know what was happening and where Emma was. The sound led to a formal restaurant. Isabella stood stiffly, Emma behind her, and a young man swayed at the door. He had Alex's skin tone, but his features were softer and less defined, handsome in a boyish way. Though this effect was ruined by his bloodshot eyes and wrinkled clothes, suggesting he slept in them. She is replacing her, the man mumbled, pointing at Emma. You are replacing Sophia with a random child you picked up off the street. Christopher, Isabella said, her voice as sharp as a knife. You were drunk again, at noon. So what? Christopher gave a wry smile. At least I still have feelings. At least I am not pretending everything's fine, throwing birthday parties, and playing the happy family game with strangers. Alex appeared in the doorway behind Christopher, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Get out, Alex said. One word, quiet. But absolutely. Christopher turned around and nearly lost his balance. Oh, my older brother's here. Has he come to kick me out of the house father left us? Your father left the house to me. He left you a stipend, and you've already drunk twice that amount. Alex's voice was calm and matter. Of fact, you have 30 seconds to leave on your own, or Marcus will help you. As if summoned, Marcus appeared on Alex's shoulder. Christopher looked at the big man's indifferent expression and seemed deflated. This is what we've become, Christopher said, looking between Alex and Isabella. Father would be ashamed. Your father would be ashamed of who you've become, Isabella replied, her anger tinged with sadness. Now go and sober up. Christopher left, his steps unsteady. Marcus followed cautiously behind. The ensuing silence was heavy. Emma pressed herself tightly against Isabella's legs, while the older woman absent-mindedly stroked her hair, trying to comfort them both. Alex's jaw was clenched, and his hands were clenched into fists at his sides. This cost him dearly, and I realized that I was powerless to stop my brother from self-destructing. "I am sorry you are seeing this," Isabella said to me and Emma. "Christopher, he hasn't been doing well since we lost Sophia. 10 years, the girl has been dead for 10 years, and her father is still grieving." "We should go," I said softly. "This is a family matter. We're disturbing you." "No," Isabella replied immediately and firmly. "You stay. We'll eat lunch like civilized people. Christopher can't ruin this either." "This doesn't sound like a request." I nodded, unsure of what else I could do. Despite the previous events, lunch was unexpectedly pleasant. Isabella made pasta from scratch, served with melt, in-your-mouth bread and vegetables from her garden. Emma ate without complaint, her shell being drawn out by Isabella's gentle attention and questions about school, friends, and favorite colors. Alex remained quiet and alert. He positioned himself where he could see both the door and Emma. His protective instincts were fully at play. Halfway through lunch, Isabella asked, "Can you do me a favor? The indulgence of an old woman?" "Of course," I said, my vigilance creeping in. "Could you take a picture of Emma and put it on my desk?" Isabella's eyes were hopeful and vulnerable. "I know it is a strange request, but she brought light to this house today, and I want to remember it." I looked at Emma, who shrugged indifferently. "Of course, Mom. Okay," I agreed, taking out my camera. "Emma, stand by the window over there." I took a few photos of my daughter. The garden sunlight shone on her from behind, making her golden curls glow, and her expression was open and sweet. When I showed Isabella the preview, the older woman's eyes filled with tears. "Perfect," she whispered, grazy. After lunch, Alex accompanied us to the car. Emma ran ahead, chatting with Marcus about the roses in the garden. "I apologize for Christopher," Alex said as we drove along the winding driveway. "He is complicated. He lost his daughter. This isn't complicated. It is devastating." "Yes, but that cannot be an excuse for anything else." Alex stopped and turned to face me. "Megan, I want to give you my number, my private line, not a business number." He took out his phone and showed me a different number than the one from last night. I added it to my contacts, wondering why a photographer would need a client's private line, a client whose family drama involved daytime alcoholism and a mysterious organization. "If you need anything," Alex continued. "I mean anything. You call this number, day or night, whatever it is." "Alex, I appreciate this generosity, but I am just your photographer. That is all." His dark eyes locked onto me, the intensity of which made me hold my breath. Emma reminded my mother of what we lost. "This makes you practically family, whether you intend to be or not, and I'll protect what belongs to me." The possessiveness in that sentence should have alerted me instead. It spread a kind of warmth in my chest, unwanted and dangerous. "I'll remember," I managed to say. Marcus had started the car, and Emma had fastened her seatbelt. Alex opened my car door and waited until I was seated. "I'll send you the final details of the event," he said. "And Megan, thank you." My mother smiled today, a genuine smile. She hasn't smiled like that in a long time. The door closed before I could respond, and we drove away from the mansion, away from the garden, away from the man who had become more than just a client in less than 24 hours. Emma kept talking about Isabella, the house, and pasta. He made the appropriate sounds, but my mind was elsewhere. On my way out, just before I reached the gate, I saw something. Several men unloaded wooden crates from a truck. Cyrillic script was visible on the side. Russian text, unless I am mistaken. Alex talked about imports and exports. But what kind of imports require what level of security and what level of confidentiality? I didn't ask. I didn't want to know the answer. Because knowing this means I have to make a choice, whether to continue accepting Alex Daruka's money and his protection. Emma is safe, eating well, and happy. I have a job. I have an income. And for the first time in months, I have some breathing room. Sometimes ignorance is the better choice. Marcus drove us home 20 minutes later. Me phone buzzed as I carried Emma upstairs for her afternoon nap. A message from Alex. Me mother wants to know if Emma would like to come home for dinner this week. It is not work related, just family time. Tell me. I stared at the text message for a long time, crossing boundaries, getting involved, making my daughter attached to someone whose world I don't understand. All the logical reasons for rejection lined up in my mind, but I remembered Isabella's smile, so genuine and warm. Alex's quiet protection, Emma's first laugh in weeks. Faye Thursday is fine. Faye'll reply. His response was immediate. That is settled for Thursday. I'll worry about the consequences later. Now, I will draw light from wherever I can find it, even if it comes from a source I can't fully trust. That week passed both slowly and quickly. Emma asks every day when she can see Isabella again, and I can't quite explain the tightness in my stomach every time Alex's name appears in the conversation. Thursday arrived with clear skies, and my camera equipment was already meticulously prepared. Though this time it wasn't for work, but for dinner. Marcus will pick us up at 6 o'clock. Emma put on her butterfly dress again and chattered excitedly about whether there would be a cake. There will definitely be a cake, Miss Emma, Marcus said. The first time I'd heard him offer information so readily. Mrs. Isabella's favorite. Chocolate with a raspberry filling. The mansion looks different at night. The lights illuminate the exterior, making it glow against the dark sky. Expensive cars are lined up in the circular driveway. I don't know their names, but I recognize them as the kind that require a six-figure investment. Alex greeted us at the entrance, dressed in a charcoal-colored suit that seemed tailor-made for him, and probably was. His dark eyes swept over us, lingering on Emma for a moment before landing on me. "You've come," he said, as if still having doubts. "You paid me to come," I replied, staying professional. "Where would you like me to begin?" "My mother wants to see Emma first," he gestured into the room. "Then you can start filming. The guests are arriving." Isabella appeared almost immediately, radiant in a midnight blue dress that probably cost more than my car. Her face lit up when she saw Emma, and my daughter ran to her without hesitation. "Cara mia," Isabella said, hugging Emma. "Come on, I want you to meet some people. Your mother has to work, but you'll stay with me, okay?" "Okay," Emma nodded enthusiastically, and they disappeared into the crowd before I could protest. Alex must have seen the worry on my face. "She is safer with my mother than anywhere else in this house," he said. "Isabella will protect her like a treasure." His tone carried a certain weight, implying that he was sincere literally. I took out my camera, adjusted the indoor lighting settings, and started working. I observed through the viewfinder all night. Observe how the guests show Alex respect, that almost cautious respect. He is not just the host, he is someone they dare not offend. Observe how Isabella got Emma to sit next to the head table, and how my daughter ate carefully, clearly performing the best. Observe how Alex always knows where I am in the room, even when he is talking to someone else. His eyes will find me. When the main course was halfway through, I caught a commotion through the doorway. Christopher stood in the adjacent room with two men I didn't recognize. Their body language was off-tense and confrontational. I adjusted my position, trying to make it look like I was just looking for a better angle, while keeping them in my peripheral vision. Christopher's voice came through, though he clearly tried to keep it low. "The Russian goods are late. It has been 3 days. Kozlov is getting increasingly impatient. Russian Kozlov goods." The puzzle pieces were put together with nauseating clarity, security, respect. Cautious ambiguity regarding Julian's business. He mentioned imports and exports, but not the legal kind. One of the men with Christopher noticed me. His expression hardened, and he said something sharp in Italian. Christopher suddenly turned his head towards me, and for a moment, our eyes met. I immediately turned around and pointed the camera at the dessert that was being served. Act naturally. Act as if you didn't hear or see anything. The rest of dinner passed in a blur. I mechanically continued taking pictures, capturing the cake and candles being served, Isabella's happy expression, and the songs being sung in Italian. But my hands trembled slightly, and the adrenaline made my pulse beat too fast. Alex DeRuca is more than just rich. He was exactly what every instinct had been warning me about ever since that rainy night in the coffee shop. He is a member of the mafia. I brought my daughter directly into his world. After the cake, the guests began to socialize. I found Emma, who was still with Isabella, and they were helping the old woman unwrap her gifts. My daughter is safe, happy, and completely unaware of the revelation that is currently tearing apart the carefully maintained composure I've been maintaining. How are the photos? Alex's voice came from behind me, making me jump. I turned around, and the camera stood between us like a shield. Very good, the lighting is good, a perfect moment. Your mother will be very happy. He looked me over with his deep, insightful eyes. But you are not happy. I am just a photographer. My opinion doesn't matter. You are a terrible liar, Megan. He took a step closer and lowered his voice. What did you see? There is no need to pretend anymore. Your brother is talking about Russians and goods, using language that doesn't conform to legitimate business narratives. Alex's jaw tightened slightly, but he didn't seem surprised. What conclusions did you draw? I should finish this job and never come back. My voice was more stable than I felt. I should take Emma away, as far away from all this as possible. Something flashed across his expression. Not anger, but something colder. Resignation, perhaps. Come with me, he said. We should talk privately. I wanted to refuse. I wanted to grab Emma and run. But Marcus was already on the edge of my sight, and Isabella and my daughter were also there. I won't leave without Emma, and creating a scene will only make things worse. I followed Alex through the house to the office I had glimpsed when I first arrived. He closed the door behind us, cutting off the noise from the party. Sit, he said, pointing to a leather chair. I remained standing. I will get the work done. I will deliver the photos. But afterwards, I think it is best if Emma and I don't come back. Is this your idea? Alex walked to his desk and poured the amber liquid from the crystal decanter into 2 glasses. He handed me one. You think you can just leave like that? Forget what you saw. Forget this place even exists. I don't know anything, I said, refusing to take the cup. I overheard a conversation I didn't understand, that is all. You are smarter than that, he said, placing the cup within my reach. You know exactly what you see, what we are, what I am. The acknowledgement hangs heavy and suggestive in the air between us. Then let me go, I said softly. I won't say anything. I have no reason. I just want Emma to be safe and to live our lives. Alex leaned against his desk, looking steadily at me. Are you afraid of me now? Afraid that I'll hurt you or Emma? I should have lied. I should have said no and downplayed the threat. Instead, the truth came out. Yes, I am scared. Not that you'll hurt us directly, but that you'll put us in danger right beside you. We can't afford it. I understand. He nodded slowly, as if I had confirmed something. Fear is healthy. It means you understand the reality of my world. So, you'll let us go? I didn't say that. He picked up his cup and swirled the liquid. You've been to my house twice already. You've met my family and my colleagues. You know where I live and what kind of security I maintain. You've photographed the face of a man who prefers anonymity. A chilling fear settled in my stomach. So what? I am a security risk. You want to make sure I disappear? Don't dramatize. Alex sipped his drink. I mean, you are in contact with me now, whether you like it or not. It means you are under my protection. I don't want your protection. Anyway, you have it, he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. In my world, knowledge is a bargaining chip. People might try to use you against me or your daughter. This isn't a threat to me, it is reality. So you either accept my protection or you risk refusing and putting yourself in danger. I wanted to argue and tell him he was wrong, but cold logic has a terrible truth. What does this actually mean? I asked reluctantly. This means you have my number. And if there is a problem, any problem, you use it. It means Marcus or someone else will occasionally come to check on you and make sure you are safe. It means if anyone threatens you or Emma, you call me immediately. He put down the cup. In return, you live your life. You work. You raise your daughter. You do whatever makes you happy. He paused. The only requirement is to be cautious about what you see here, but I don't think that will be a problem. It is a cage, but it is gilded. It serves as both protection and surveillance. Goodwill comes with obligations. I need to pick up Emma, I said, neither agreeing nor disagreeing. It is too late. Alex walked to the door and opened it. I had Marcus bring the car over. Your payment is in the envelope on the table by the entrance. It includes the bonus. I found Emma and Isabella together, and I am showing her a photo album now. When she saw us approaching, the old woman's expression became knowing. It is time to say goodnight, I said, keeping my voice gentle. Say goodnight to Isabella. Emma embraced Isabella with childlike, natural affection. Thank you for the cake. Come back soon, Piccola, Isabella said, kissing Emma's forehead. Then she looked at me, and something in her eyes suggested that she knew exactly what Alex and I had just talked about. Both of you, come back. Outside, the night grew cold. Emma climbed into the back seat and curled up immediately. She would fall asleep before we left the driveway. Alex opened the car door for me and waited. Before I got in the car, he whispered, "Let me tell you about Sophia." I paused. Half of them had already boarded the bus. She is Christopher's daughter, 4 years old, blonde curls, just like Emma. His voice was carefully controlled, his emotions tightly locked. 10 years ago, I had a territorial dispute with a Russian organization, the Kozlov family. They wanted our port operations. I refused to negotiate. He looked at me, and then at nothingness. They retaliated by attacking one of our restaurants. Sophia and her mother were having lunch there at the time. The gunmen didn't care about collateral damage. Sophia died on the spot. Her mother survived but never recovered. She committed suicide 2 years later. I felt cold, despite wearing a jacket. Alex, I was 24 years old then, he continued. Just 6 months after taking over from my father. I thought I was invincible, that my name alone could protect my family. His eyes met mine, and the pain there was primal real. I've learned my lesson. I swear I will never ever let anyone under my care become vulnerable again. The meaning is very clear. Emma reminded them of Sophia. Isabella lost her granddaughter. Alex lost his niece and sister, in-law. Now we're here, inserting that wound. I am sorry for your loss, I said, because no other words seemed enough. Don't apologize. Be careful. Be smart. Call me if you need help. He stepped back and told me to close the car door. Through the car window, I saw him standing there, still watching and protecting Marcus as he drove away, even after we left. Emma slept the entire drive. I carried her upstairs, changed her into pajamas, tucked her into bed, and then sat in my living room, staring at the envelope Alex had given me. Inside was the agreed, upon compensation, plus a substantial bonus. There was also a business card with only his personal number on it, but no name. I should have felt relieved, should have felt that I had escaped some kind of danger. Instead, I felt tagged, claimed, and protected. Whether I wanted it or not. My phone was buzzing. A text message from Alex. Thank you for tonight. My mother is very happy. This means a lot to me. I stared at this message for a long time, then replied, "You are welcome." There is no other seemingly safe explanation, because the facts are complex and dangerous, and I myself do not fully understand them. I entered Alex Daruka's world thinking I was just a photographer. Now, I know I am a completely different thing. I'll find out soon enough what that means. 3 weeks have passed, and apart from a brief text message thanking him for the photo, there has been no contact from Alex. Isabella called twice to ask when Emma could come again, but I kept making excuses. Distance makes me feel safer. It is necessary. Then the letter arrived. An ordinary white envelope postmarked from a prison in the northern part of the state. My hands were trembling when I opened it, and I already knew who sent it before I even saw Ryan's handwriting. Megan, me lawyer, said I would be released in 2 weeks. Early release due to good behavior. We need to talk about Emma. She is my daughter too. I have hired a representative to apply for joint guardianship. You can't separate her from me. See you soon. Ryan's words became blurred, and panic surged into my system. Ryan has arrived. He is here to fight for Emma. I spent 8 months believing that distance and prison walls kept us safe. 8 months to rebuild our lives without looking back. He is coming back now. Emma stayed at kindergarten and didn't get home until 3 hours later. I have time to figure something out. I have time to breathe. I just can't breathe. I called the legal aid office I used when I applied for the initial restraining order. I was transferred 4 times before I finally got through to someone who could help. Guardianship cases are complex, the lawyer said, her voice professional yet compassionate. Especially when the father has financial resources, does he? His family does. They've never approved of me. They'll do anything to stop me. Then you'll need a suitable representative. Our office handles criminal cases, but guardianship requires a professional lawyer. I can give you some recommendations, but they're not cheap. How cheap is it? The initial fees are approximately $15,000. It will be even more if it goes to court. 15,000 US dollars. I probably saved 3,000 from Alex's job, far from it. I thanked her and hung up. Then I spent the next hour making those recommendations. Every conversation ended in the same way. Without substantial upfront costs, no one will take my case. Ryan's family fortune means this will be a battle that requires resources I don't have. By the time I picked Emma up from school, I had exhausted every option I could think of. My daughter climbed into our car, chattering about finger painting and playground politics, completely unaware of the crisis swirling around her. "Mom, why are your eyes red?" "I am just tired, baby." I forced a smile. It has been a long day. At home, I mechanically made dinner, boxed macaroni and cheese, carrot sticks, and apple slices. Emma ate, while I fiddled with the food on my plate, my mind racing with impossible scenarios. Ryan will get joint custody, or worse. Full custody, he has money, family support, and a clean record. His release will prove his recovery. I have a restraining order based on an incident that occurred 2 years ago, and a job filming an event. No judge would consider us equal. After coaxing Emma into bed, I sat in the living room, staring at my phone. Stare at the contact labeled Alex Deruka Private. I shouldn't have hit him. Getting further entangled with him would have been dangerous and foolish. I should handle this myself. But Emma's face kept flashing in my mind, her trusting smile. Her little hand held mine. Sometimes she still has nightmares about the arguments we had before we left. I can't let her go back there. My finger pressed the call button before I could change my mind. Alex answered the phone on the second ring. "Megan." Just my name spoken in that low, restrained voice. Somehow, this calmed me down. "I need help," I said. The words stuck in my throat. If there were any other options, I wouldn't have fought. But there aren't, Emma. Wait a minute. What happened? I told him about the letter, the custody threat, that the lawyer wouldn't take my case without the money I didn't have, and the 2 weeks of fear and uncertainty I had been suppressing. Words poured out like a tide, ultimately leading to a breakthrough. Alex listened without interrupting. When I finished speaking, there was a silence that lasted for a few seconds. "Your address," he finally said. "What? Tell me your address. I am coming to find you now." I gave them the street and apartment number. I was too tired to argue. 30 minutes, Alex said. "Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone except me." He hung up before I could respond. 20. 8 minutes later, the car's headlights swept across my window. I looked out through the blinds and saw the black Cadillac stop. Alex got out of the back seat, followed closely by Marcus. He opened the door before they could knock, not wanting to wake Emma. Alex walked in, and his presence immediately made my small apartment feel even smaller. His eyes swept across the space, efficiently noting the exits and lines of sight before settling on me. "Where is Emma?" "She is asleep. She knows nothing about any of this." "Okay." He walked over to my sofa, sat down as if he belonged there, and said, "Show me the letter." I handed him the letter and watched him read Ryan's words with a blank expression. "Marcus," Alex said without looking up, "put people in this building shifts. If Ryan or anyone connected to him shows up within 2 blocks, I need to know immediately." "Yes, sir." Marcus took out his phone and went to the hallway to make a call. "Wait," I protested. "You can't just have people outside my apartment. The neighbors will notice." "My landlord." "Your landlord works for a property management company, and I do business with that company," Alex said, setting the letter aside. "That won't be a problem. And your neighbors won't notice. My people are professionals." The way he arbitrarily rearranged my life should have infuriated me. Instead, I felt something loosen in my chest. Somebody is in control. They're handling things I can't handle alone. "What about the guardianship case?" I asked. "Guards outside won't prevent a court order." Number, but the lawyer will. Alex took out his phone and scrolled through his contacts. I have a long-term employer, a law firm specializing in family law. They handle sensitive cases for my colleagues. Alex, I can't afford it. You won't pay. He raised his hand to interrupt my protest. This is private. Emma reminds my mother of Sophia. Not only that, she brought light back into Isabella's life. That makes her very important to me. I cannot accept charity. Something dangerous gleamed in his eyes. This isn't charity, it is protection. Do you understand the difference? I understand. Charity means goodwill without conditions. Protection implies obligation, ownership. What do you want in return? Alex studied me for a long time. Be honest. If Ryan contacts you again, tell me immediately. If anything threatens Emma, call me before the police. Why not call the police? Because the police have procedures, paperwork, delays. His voice was soft but firm. I didn't. Emma's safety is too important to be delayed by bureaucracy. Marcus returned and nodded to Alex. All done. Martinez is on his way. Jang will take over at midnight. Okay. Alex turned his attention back to me. Tomorrow morning at 10, my lawyers will meet you in their office. Marcus will drive you. I have work to do. A client is shooting at 11 o'clock. Cancel it. I can't just leave it like this, Megan. Alex leaned forward, his gaze intense. Your ex-husband is threatening to take your daughter. Everything else is secondary. Cancel the shoot. Marcus will take you to the lawyers. They'll handle the paperwork, and we'll close Ryan's custody application before we get the momentum. The certainty and absolute confidence in his voice made me want to believe him. I wanted to relinquish control and let someone stronger fight this battle. Why did you do this? I whispered. Really, not about Isabella or Sophia. Why do you care what happened to us? Alex leaned back, pondering the question. When he spoke, his voice carried a weight I had never heard before. When Sophia died, I was young and arrogant. I thought my position and my name were enough to protect me. I learned my lesson. My niece paid for my mistakes with her life. His jaw was clenched. I swear I will never let that happen again. Anyone under my protection will have every resource and every advantage I can provide. But we're not actually under your protection. Not really. We're just people you met at the coffee shop. From the moment I decided you belonged to me, you were mine, a simple statement, leaving no room for argument. Whether you accept it or not, it won't change reality. Emma is safe because I decided she is safe. You are protected because I decided to protect you. This possessiveness should have frightened me. Instead, exhaustion and relief made me lean forward, resting my elbows on my knees. I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me, just trust me. Alex stood up and buttoned his jacket. Get some sleep. Marcus, be here at 9 tomorrow morning. Get ready. He walked toward the door, then paused. He pulled a cell phone out of his pocket, a different one from the ones I'd seen him use before. This is for you. There's only one contact in it, Marcus's direct line. If you need immediate help, call him. He'll send someone here within minutes, or he'll come in person. I took the phone and felt its weight in my hand, another bond, another connection to Alex's world. What if Ryan's lawyer is better than yours? The problem was small and fragile when it first appeared. Alex's expression softened slightly, and the edge of danger receded. They won't believe me. Ryan may have family wealth, but I have resources he can't even imagine. He'll be lucky to retain supervisory and visitation rights once my lawyers are done. After they left, I went to check on Emma. She slept soundly, one hand curled under her cheek, her golden hair spread out on the pillow, my daughter. My whole world, the reason I fled, survived, and rebuilt. No, she is the reason I've tied myself to a man whose protection comes with invisible chains. I climbed into bed, but couldn't fall asleep. Instead, I stared at the phone Alex had given me, at the single contact labeled Marcus Emergency. I want to know what price I will ultimately pay for accepting this help. The answer came faster than I expected, but not in the way I feared. The week following my meeting with lawyer Alex felt surreal. They acted with astonishing efficiency, filing a countersuit before Ryan's lawyers could formally serve the documents. I sat in that glass-walled conference room, where 3 sharp-eyed lawyers in designer suits explained how they would systematically dismantle Ryan's guardianship application. His early release does not erase his record. The lead attorney, a woman named Victoria Hale, said with chilling precision, "We will argue that his early release only proves he can follow the rules, not that he is fit to be a parent. Recorded domestic violence, restraining orders, 8 months of zero contact with his daughter. That paints a clear picture." At the end of the meeting, I felt cautiously optimistic for the first time since receiving Ryan's letter. Now, 2 weeks later, the custody proceedings are moving forward through paperwork and legal maneuvering. Alex's lawyer assured me that Ryan's case is weakening every day. For the first time in months, I was able to breathe without the constant pressure of panic weighing on my chest. Alex visited frequently, always with a reason. The latest news from the lawyers, checking if Marcus's security shift was inconspicuous, or delivering groceries because Isabella insists you are too thin. Every visit felt meticulously calibrated, maintaining professional boundaries, even when there was something unspoken buzzing between us. Emma worships him. This is the most dangerous development. Seeing the lights illuminate every time his car appeared, my daughter started asking Mr. Alex when he would come again, counting down the days until his next appearance. One evening, he brought Italian children's books with colorful illustrations of castles and dragons. "She should learn the language," he explained, settling down on my worn-out sofa as Emma climbed over to him. "It's now part of her legacy, a connection to my family." I opened my mouth to argue that we weren't really in contact and that this arrangement was temporary protection, but Emma, under Alex's patient guidance, had already uttered the Italian words, and the protest died in my throat. Over the next few weeks, Alex taught Emma basic phrases. Buongiorno means good morning. Grazie means thank you. Ti voglio bene is translated as I care about you, although I know enough Italian to know that it means closer to I love you. Emma kept practicing greeting Marcus in Italian when he came for the security check, and before going to sleep she would say buonanotte to me. She is only 5 years old, but thanks to a man who came into our lives by chance, she is already bilingual. Or is this really just a coincidence? I started thinking about that first night at the coffee shop, the convenient job opportunity, the perfectly timed prepayment. Alex admitted to investigating me after finding my business card. How much is accidental, and how much is calculated? This thought should have bothered me more than the reality. On Sunday morning, 3 weeks after Alex's birthday, Isabella called. "Lunch today," she announced, leaving no room for argument. "A little. Alex will be sending Marcus. It is a family tradition, Sunday lunch. You are family now." "Isabella, we really aren't." "Because I said you are family. You are family," she interrupted me. "Now dress comfortably. We'll eat in the garden when the weather's nice." She hung up before I could protest further. Marcus arrived at 12:30. Emma put on her purple butterfly dress again and announced that this was her outfit for meeting Nona. When did Isabella go from being Mrs. Druca to Nona? The mansion looked different in the afternoon sunlight, less intimidating. The garden was full of late spring flowers, and I could hear sounds and laughter coming from somewhere behind. Alex greeted us at the door, dressed more casually than I had ever seen him. Dark jeans and a gray Henley shirt clinging to his shoulders. No jacket. He looked younger and more approachable. "They're in the garden," he said, gesturing towards the house. "Just so you know, my mother invited half the neighborhood. Sunday luncheons are going to be big." The garden had been transformed into an outdoor restaurant, a long table, covered with a white tablecloth stretched across the terrace and was already laden with platters of food. 30 people moved around, chatting and laughing in a mix of Italian and English. Children ran among the flower beds, their shouts echoing through the adults' conversation. Isabella appeared, radiant in a coral dress, and embraced Emma. "My beautiful girl is here. Come on, other children, play by the fountain." Emma hesitated and looked back at me. Alex crouched down beside her and whispered in Italian, then translated, "It is safe. My men are guarding the walls. No one who shouldn't be here will come in. Go have fun." Emma nodded, completely trusting him, and ran off with a girl of similar age who appeared next to Isabella. "She trusts you," I thought as I watched my daughter disappear into the garden. "Children have good intuition." Alex straightened up. "Come, let me introduce you to everyone. Although most people won't remember your name after today, Italian families are big and noisy." He was right. For the next hour, I met with cousins, uncles, and family friends, whose relationships I couldn't trace. Everyone spoke with their hands, their voices overlapping in a cheerful cacophony. Food kept coming in. Appetizers, pasta, roast meat, vegetables, drizzled with olive oil, and bread still warm from the oven. Throughout the entire process, Alex remained close, not hovering above but present, introducing me as Megan, a friend of the family. With his hand briefly resting on my lower back or shoulder, a casual touch that felt like a statement. During the meal, I noticed Christopher at the far end of the table. He was very sober today, or nearly sober, picking through his food and looking at Alex with undisguised bitterness. When Alex laughed out loud at something Isabella said, Christopher's expression twisted into something ugly. "Don't mind him." A woman next to me, I think Alex's cousin, whispered. Ever since Sophia died, Christopher has been angry with the world, especially angry that Alex is able to get through his grief so well. After lunch, while the guests lingered over coffee and dessert, Alex found me watching Emma and the other children play. "Do you want to leave here?" he asked softly. "Chaos can be overwhelming. Won't your mother mind? She'll be very happy. She has been trying to let me spend time alone with you for weeks." This acknowledgement sent a flush of heat to my face, Alex noticed, and a flicker of what might have been pleasure crossed his dark eyes. "Ice cream," he said. "There is a place Emma would like, 20 minutes drive." Emma was excited about the prospect and bounced in the back seat of the Alex. A different car, a dark blue SUV with leather seats and technology I didn't understand. The ice cream shop is small and family-run, hidden in a neighborhood that feels frozen in another era. Alex knew the boss by name and spoke to him in fluent Italian, while Emma pressed her face against the glass display case. "She wants to try everything," I translated with a smile, watching my daughter's hesitation. "Then she'll try everything," Alex replied simply, ordering a tasting plate with 6 different flavors. We sat at an outdoor table, Emma calmly enjoying her ice cream, while Alex and I pretended not to be looking at each other. The afternoon sun was warm, and the streets were quiet. It felt almost normal, like we were just a family enjoying a weekend ice cream. We're not a family. We're a single mother, her daughter, and a man with obligations I haven't fully acknowledged yet. Emma's eyes began to grow heavy halfway through the second flavor. The long afternoon, the play, the sumptuous food. All of it suddenly piled up. Alex noticed it before I did. "Come on, Piccola," he said gently. "It is time to rest." He carried her to the car and settled her in the back seat, where she immediately curled up and fell asleep. Instead of driving home, Alex parked in a nearby park and turned off the engine. "She'll sleep better if we don't move," he explained, turning to face me. "We can wait." In the sudden silence, my daughter slept soundly behind me, and the barrier I had been maintaining crumbled a little. "Why are you really doing all this?" I asked, not as a demand, but simply to understand. "Lawyer security. Sunday lunch, you mean nothing to us." Alex's expression shifted, something vulnerable breaking through his usual control. "When I was 17, he began slowly. "I had a younger sister, Bella. She was 13, just starting high school, beautiful, intelligent, and full of life." Past tense, my chest tightened. "There is a dispute with a rival family. They're actually Russian. My brother mentioned them at my mother's party. They want the territory my father controlled. His father refused to negotiate." Alex's hands tightened on the steering wheel, his knuckles turning white. "They retaliated by attacking Bella. They caught her after school and held her captive for 3 days. By the time we found her," he paused, his throat moving. "She didn't survive what they did to her." Fear and sorrow came like a tidal wave. "Alex, I am so sorry. After that, my father became a different person. Ruthless, paranoid, and distrustful of everyone. I watched him destroy himself, trying to protect the rest of our family. He died 5 years later, a heart attack, from stress, leaving me in charge at 22. He turned and looked directly at me, his dark eyes burning with intensity. "I swear I will never allow anyone under my protection to suffer the same pain as Bella. I will use every resource and every advantage to ensure the safety of my people." Then Christopher's daughter, Sophia, died in that restaurant shooting, despite all my promises. The weight of that guilt, borne for 10 years, is visible in every line on his face. "So yes, I am protecting you and Emma. But this isn't charity. It is atonement. It is trying to save those I can save, when I can't save those I've lost. Without thinking, I reached over the center console and took his hand. His fingers immediately gripped mine tightly, almost painfully. "You can't save everyone," I whispered. "Those deaths weren't your fault. Isn't that right? I am in power now. If I were stronger, smarter, and more ruthless, you would be your father." He died at 47 trying to control uncontrollable stress. Alex stared at our clasped hands, then looked up at me. Whatever he saw in my expression made him hold his breath. "Aren't you afraid of me?" "I should be afraid. You frighten me, but not for the reasons you think." "What is the reason?" "I can't say it. I can't admit that what truly frightens me is how dependent I've become on him. How safe I feel in his presence. How my daughter calls his mother Nona, learns Italian from him, and looks for his car every afternoon. How did I begin to fall in love with a man who would eventually devour our world? Instead, I kissed him across the center console. Alex's heart stopped completely. Then he cupped the back of my head with his free hand and returned my kiss with a force that made me lose my breath. This wasn't gentle, nor was it a test. It was a declaration, a demand. The tension of 10 weeks was finally released. I tasted despair in that kiss, both his and mine. Two people who had been lonely for too long found temporary refuge in each other. When we finally separated, we were both breathless, and Alex pressed his forehead against mine. "This complicates things," he said gruffly. "I know. You deserve to be better than this, better than me. Perhaps I can decide for myself what I deserve." He stepped back until he was close enough to meet my eyes. "If we do this, if we cross this line, there will be no turning back. You will belong to me in a way that goes beyond protection. Do you understand? Possessiveness should have made me run away. Instead, it allows heat to flow through my blood vessels. I understand." Alex kissed me again, this time more gently, and then reluctantly pulled away. "I should take you home. Emma needs her bed, not a car seat." The return journey was quiet, filled with unspoken promises and the complexities of acknowledgement. Downstairs, Alex walked us to the door, even though Marcus was nearby. "I need a few days," he said, Emma sleepily heading towards the elevator, "to handle some things that have been brewing for a while. Marcus will keep security, and the lawyers have everything under control. Is this dangerous? It is always dangerous. But I'll be careful." He rubbed my cheek with his thumb. "If you need anything, just call me." After they left, I carried Emma to bed, then stood by the window, looking down at the street, where Alex's man kept watch at a cautious distance. I crossed a line today. I acknowledged the feelings I had been denying. I accepted that what happened between Alex and me was more than just convenience or protection. The question is, what price will we all pay for that admission? The text message arrived at 3:47 p.m. while I was editing photos from my wedding A video file. No text. My finger hovered over the screen, and some primal instinct warned me not to open it. But mothers do not overlook the luxury of potential information about their children. I pressed play. Emma was strapped to a chair in what looked like an abandoned warehouse. Gray walls, concrete floors, stained with who knows what. Her golden curls were tangled, and grime streaked her tear-streaked face. Someone had taped her mouth shut, and her eyes were wide open with barely suppressed fear. The camera zoomed in, and I could see her chest heaving violently from breathing through her nose. She was trying hard to be brave. Below the video appears text in Cyrillic script, followed by a rough English translation. "Druka has 12 hours. Port passage or the girl dies." The phone fell from my trembling hand onto the table. Emma, my baby, my whole world. She was taken away by the monster who used her as a bargaining chip. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could picture was her terrified face, the rope digging into her small wrists, and she must have been calling out for my certainty in her heart. My hand found the phone again, and I awkwardly dialed Alex's number. He answered it after it rang once. "Megan." "They arrested her." My voice cracked. "Russians. They sent me a video. She was tied up, terrified, and they said if you didn't, I know, beneath the steel." "I received the same video 2 minutes ago. Where are you?" "At home." "Alex, they'll hurt her. As long as she has value, she won't." He interrupted my escalating hysteria. "Listen to me carefully. Lock your door. I'll send Marcus to pick you up. 10 minutes. I can't just wait, Megan," he cut in. Every second you panic is a second we don't act. Trust me, I will bring her back. The call was disconnected. I paced back and forth in the small living room like a caged beast, checking the window every 30 seconds. 8 minutes later, Marcus's car screeched to a halt outside. I went downstairs before he was able to get out of the car. "Where is she?" I demanded, climbing into the passenger seat. "We're working on it," Marcus said, driving into traffic with a controlled sense of urgency. "Alex has mobilized the team." The drive to Alex's mansion took 17 minutes, but felt like 17 hours. My mind keeps replaying that video. Emma's terrified eyes, the rope, the cold warehouse. What are they doing to her now? Is she crying? Is she screaming? Does she think we've abandoned her? When we arrived, the mansion's gates were already open. Multiple cars were crammed into the roundabout, and men dressed in black moved with military precision. Alex greeted me at the door. He had changed into tactical gear, black work pants, and a well-fitting shirt under his bulletproof vest. His expression was like an ice sculpture. "Come," he said, leading me through the house to a room I had never seen before. The operations center looked like something out of a spy movie. One wall was covered with computer monitors displaying satellite images, traffic cameras, and thermal imagers. 6 men were working at a keyboard, their voices rapidly overlapping in Italian and English. Isabella stood in the corner, her rosary tightly clutched in her weathered hand, her lips moving silently in prayer. "Show me," Alex commanded. A technician pulled up the video I had received. Alex glanced at it, expressionless, then gestured to the technicians to freeze on a frame showing the interior of the warehouse. "Background details," he said, pointing to the window configuration. "The rust patterns on those pipes, cross-referencing with known Russian assets in Newark." "Processing," the technician replied, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Alex turned to me. "According to the metadata, the video was sent 40 minutes ago. They followed standard kidnapping protocols, establishing control before making demands. They want your port." I forced the words through my taut throat. "Will you give them what they want?" Number simple, absolutely. Because if I negotiate, Emma becomes the template. Every one of my enemies will know they can take what belongs to me to force obedience. "She is not yours." The protest started automatically. His dark eyes met mine, and the intensity made me hold my breath. "Yes, she is. From the moment I decided she was. More importantly, she is yours. That makes this non-negotiable." A monitor flickered. "Boss, I found something." Newark has 3 warehouses that meet the window configuration. Thermal imaging is now operational. We watched as the satellite feed appeared, showing thermal images of the building and its surroundings. The first 2 show the normal activity mode. The third one shows something different. There, the technician zoomed in. There are 12 thermal images inside, in a defensive position. A smaller marker separates it from the group. My heart pounded. That is her. It must be her. Alex studied the screen with almost predatory focus. The timestamps of when they gathered there? "The first peak of activity was at 4:32 p.m. today," the technician reported, "which aligns with our timeline. Do you want me to confirm using traffic camera footage?" "Do?" 3 minutes later, we received confirmation. A dark-colored SUV with a blurry license plate was captured by traffic cameras at 3:58 p.m. entering the warehouse area, 12 minutes after Emma got out of school. "That is our objective," Alex said, turning to speak into the room. "Alpha Squad, prepare for immediate deployment. Beta Squad, hold the perimeter once we break through. No one should leave that building alive except our men and the girl." The casual way he ordered the executions should have shocked me. On the contrary, I felt a savage satisfaction. These people kidnapped my daughter. They deserve whatever consequences they face. "I'll go with you," I said. "Number, she is my daughter." "That is precisely why you stayed," Alex said, his tone leaving no room for argument. "You are emotionally affected. You'd be a burden on the scene. Emma needs her mother alive, not caught in the crossfire." "Then what should I do? Just sit here and watch?" "Yes." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "You saw every single screen. You saw the moment we protected her. When it was all over, when she was safe, you were the first face she saw. Not mine, yours. The logic is sound. even though everything inside me is screaming to go to her. I nodded stiffly. Alex touched my shoulder briefly, the only consolation he allowed himself. Then he resumed his full-fledged business. He issued swift orders to his team. 15 minutes later, a convoy of 4 black SUVs left the estate. I watched them leave through the window, then returned to the operations center, where multiple screens now displayed the vehicle's dashboard cameras. Isabella appeared beside me and handed me a glass of water that I couldn't remember wanting. "He will bring her home," she whispered. "My son will not fail when his family is in danger. She is not his family. She is the child my son protected," Isabella said, grasping my hand. "That made her a member of the Druka family, regardless of what the documents say. And you, Megan, are family now too." She gripped my hand tightly. "These people took what was ours. They'll understand why it was a mistake." The convoy arrived at the warehouse area at dusk. Through the night vision camera, I watched Alex's team assemble at multiple entry points. His voice came through the loudspeaker, calm and restrained. "Thermal imaging shows no change in position. They didn't anticipate us. Alpha breaks through in 60 seconds. All squads confirm. You're ready." A chorus of affirmation. 30 seconds, confirmed hostile targets may be opened fire. First priority, find the child unharmed. Second priority, intelligence. Third priority, no one leaves alive. I stopped breathing. Breakthrough. The world exploded into chaos. Multiple security cameras showed the door being kicked open simultaneously. Gun flashes illuminated the darkness. Commands were shouted in English and Italian. Intermittent bursts of gunfire filled the loudspeakers. A camera, mounted on Alex's helmet, showed his perspective as he moved through the warehouse with deadly efficiency. 2 men emerged from behind a pile of crates. Alex fired 3 shots. Both men fell. "The northern corridor has been cleared," someone reported. 2 enemies on the east side have fallen," another voice said. "The thermal imaging in the front office area," Alex said, "is still there, untouched." He gestured to the person behind the door, raised 3 fingers, 3, 2, 1. The door burst open inwards. Alex burst into the room, weapon in hand. There was a heart-stopping moment when the camera only showed overturned furniture and shadows. Then it tilts downwards. Emma sat in the corner, exactly as she appeared in the video. She was strapped to a chair, her mouth taped shut. But when her eyes found the camera, they widened in recognition. "Target acquired," Alex said, his voice rougher than before. "She is alive. She is allied." A sob ripped from my throat before I could stop it. Isabella wrapped her arms around my shoulders as my knees gave way. On the screen, Alex sheathed his weapon and strode across the room to Emma. His hands, which had been so deadly moments before, were gentle as he peeled the tape off her mouth. "Emma," he whispered, "it is me. You are safe now." She stared at him for a second, as if she couldn't believe he was real. Then she threw forward, chair and all, trying to reach him. Alex caught her, his arms encircling the chair and the child. One of his men stepped forward with a knife and cut the rope. As soon as she was free, Emma wrapped her arms around Alex's neck and buried her face in his tactical vest. "I knew you would come," she sobbed. "I told them you would. They said no one would come, but I knew. I am here." Alex's voice cracked in a way I'd never heard before. "I found you, Piccolo. No one will ever hurt you again. Never." He picked her up, stood up, and turned to leave. Alpha Squad, target protected transfer. The journey out of the warehouse is faster than the journey in. Alex never put Emma down, but carried her through the corridor where the fallen men lay, covering her face so she couldn't see the bodies. The convoy used escort vehicles to clear the path and pull back through Newark. From breakthrough to arrival at the mansion, 45 minutes. 45 minutes, during which I paced the porch like a madwoman, unable to sit down or do anything but wait. The car headlights swept across the window. The car door opened. I had already run down the front steps, and Emma was still in Alex's arms when he got out of the lead car. "Mom!" she screamed, reaching out to me. I grabbed her from Alex and pressed her tightly against my chest. I could feel her small body trembling from sobbing. I could breathe in the scent of her hair, sweat, and fear. But she is alive. She is alive. I am here, baby, I whispered urgently. I've found you. You are safe. Emma held me tightly, her fingers twisting inside my shirt. Her whole body was trembling. I held her too tightly, and she had to push away to breathe. But I couldn't let go, not even slightly. Alex stood a few feet away, watching us, his expression unreadable. It is liberation, of course, but below lies something even darker, guilt perhaps, the weight of a nearly shattered promise. Isabella appeared with a blanket and wrapped it around Emma's shoulders, even though the night wasn't cold. "Povera bambina," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "You are home now. You are safe." The doctor Alex summoned arrived a few minutes later and examined Emma in the living room of the mansion. Aside from some bruises and mild dehydration caused by the rope, there were no injuries. Physically, she was unharmed. Emotionally, that is another issue. When the doctor needed to examine her arm, Emma wouldn't let go of my hand. She screamed until I held her hand. When Isabella tried to get her some hot chocolate, she buried her face in my neck. "It is okay," I kept saying, knowing it wasn't true, but I needed to say something. "You are safe now. Nobody will hurt you." After the doctor left, Isabella coaxed Emma into drinking some water, and Alex appeared at the door. Emma jerked her head up. For a moment, I thought she would be scared and would associate him with trauma. Instead, she reached out to him. "Mr. Alex saved me," she told me, as if I might not know. "The bad guy said no one would come, but he still came." Alex crossed the room and squatted down next to us. "I told you I would protect you. I kept my promise." "I know." Emma's little hand reached for his. "Can we stay here tonight? I don't want to go back to our apartment." She didn't say why, but I know. The apartment was where she was taken away, in her mind. Even though the actual kidnapping happened at school, it represented vulnerability. "Of course," I said before Alex could answer. "We'll give you the time you need." Alex's eyes met mine above Emma's head. At that moment, I understood something that fundamentally changed our relationship. He fought for my daughter. He killed for her. He risked everything to bring her home. How can I leave there? How can I keep my distance from a man who has undeniably proven he would burn the world down to ensure our safety? The answer is simple, yet terrifying. I cannot. "The guest room is ready," Alex said softly. "Upstairs, through the second door. Ask Isabella or Marcus for anything you need." Emma had fallen asleep on my shoulder. My adrenaline had finally kicked in. I carried her upstairs, with Alex following behind like a silent guardian. The guest room was beautiful and comfortable, but more importantly, it had a lock on the door and the window was just a vertical wall when opened. "It is safe." I put Emma on the huge bed and climbed next to her. She immediately curled up towards me, gripping my shirt tightly with one hand. Alex stood in the doorway, backlit by the hallway lights, looking like he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. "Thank you," I finally said, "for bringing her home, for everything." "Don't thank me," he said gruffly. "It all happened because of me, because I made you visible, because they knew taking her away would hurt me. You saved her after she was put in danger. I was the one who first put her in danger." He wiped his face with his hand, exhaustion and guilt etched into every line. "Megan, tomorrow," I interrupted him. "Whatever you need to say, we'll handle it tomorrow. She is home tonight, safe. That is all that matters." He nodded slowly, then stepped back into the corridor. "Lock the door. Marcus is stationed outside. No one can get in without him first." After he left, I did lock the door, then held my daughter and listened to her breathing until exhaustion finally took its toll. Tomorrow will bring problems, consequences, and decisions I am not ready to make. But tonight, Emma is alive in my arms. I will never forget the sight of Alex DeRuca carrying her out of that warehouse, as if she were the most precious thing in his world. Because I began to realize that, to him, she was, me too. Emma woke up screaming at 2 a.m. I was in a light sleep, highly alert to every sound and every shadow. And I woke up immediately when her cries pierced the darkness. "It is okay, baby," I pulled her towards me. "You are safe. I am here." She leaned on my shoulder, sobbing, her small body trembling. "They'll be back. They said they'll come back if Mr. Alex doesn't do what they want." "They're not coming back," I said, stroking her tangled hair, trying to sound confident. Mr. Alex made sure of that. But even if I say it out loud, doubts still creep in. Alex admitted that one person had escaped. Kozlov himself, possibly. The smuggler's head was still gliding freely. The gentle knocking on the door made me nervous. Megan, it is Alex. I carefully pulled away from Emma's grip and opened the door. Alex stood in the hallway, wearing dark sweatpants and a t-shirt, his hair disheveled as if he had been lying down but hadn't slept. Marcus lingered behind his shoulder. I heard her scream, Alex said softly. Is she all right? A nightmare. She thinks they'll come back. Something dark flashed across his face. May I come in? I hesitated, then nodded and stepped back. Alex walked to the bedside and carefully sat on the edge. Emma opened her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. Piccola, he said gently, can I tell you something? She nodded, her fingers twisting inside the blanket. The people who arrested you. They're gone. Not just gone. They can't hurt you or anyone else anymore. Forever. Everyone? Her voice was very soft. Except for one. Alex's honesty surprised me. He ran far because he knew what would happen if he came back. Do you understand what I am telling you? Emma studied his face with the unsettling directness of a child. You killed them. I started to protest, trying to protect her from that reality, but Alex spoke first. Yes, he said simply. I killed them because they hurt the people under my protection. That is what happens when people threaten my family. Am I family? Alex's throat moved. If you want to be. Emma considered this and then nodded. Okay, then I am not afraid anymore. That is all the resilience. She accepts protection from the monster that has eliminated other monsters, representing her. Alex tucked the blanket around her and then stood up. Try to sleep. Marcus is outside. I am down in the hallway. Nothing can get past us. After he left, Emma leaned against me again and settled down. Within minutes, her breathing became even, and she drifted into a deep sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, processing what had just happened. Alex confessed to the murder in front of my 5-year-old daughter. She wasn't frightened, rather, she found comfort in it. What kind of world have we entered where violence brings peace of mind? The morning sunlight filtered through the heavy curtains, leaving only a faint glimmer. Emma woke up calmer and asked for breakfast, bringing something that was close to normal. We discovered that Isabella was already in the kitchen, preparing what appeared to be enough food to feed an army. Buongiorno, she said warmly, pulling Emma into her arms. How did you sleep, Cara? It is even better now that Mr. Alex is here, Emma said, climbing onto a stool on the kitchen island. He said the bad guys are gone forever. Isabella's eyes met mine above Emma's head, and understanding was conveyed between us. Yes, well, Julian is very good at making sure the bad guys don't bother his family anymore. Emma gradually relaxed over the pancakes and fruit. She told Isabella about the warehouse, about her fear, about how she knew Alex would come because of his promise. I let her speak, watched the color return to her cheeks, watched her process the trauma like a child, direct and honest. Alex arrived around 10 o'clock, fresh from a shower, wearing dark jeans and a gray Henry shirt. He didn't look like a mafia boss. He looked more like a dangerously attractive man who happened to command an army. Can I borrow your mother for a few minutes? He asked Emma. She looked at me seeking confirmation. I nodded. Stay with Isabella. I'll be right back. Alex led me to his office and closed the door behind him. The room felt different during the day, less intimidating. The maps are still covered by a wall, but now I can see that they show port layouts, shipping routes, and territorial markings. We need to talk about what happens next, Alex said, moving to lean against his desk. What happens next is when we go home and try to rebuild some normalcy. You can't. There was no apology in his voice, only a statement of facts. Your apartment is not safe. Anyone who knows where you live knows where to find you. Kozlov is still outside. You said he was running. It is now, but people like him won't forget. They won't forgive. Emma was a loose ending, and so are you. He crossed his arms. You stay here until I permanently eliminate the threat. You can't just order us to live with you. I am not giving orders. I am stating reality. His dark eyes locked onto me. Megan, you want to take Emma back to that apartment, wondering if it is him every time you hear footsteps in the hallway? wondering if the car following you is for surveillance or an attack, having second thoughts about every stranger on the street. The scene he described made my stomach clench. Because he is right. I'll never feel safe there again. How long? I asked. It will take as long as it takes. That is not the answer. This is the only answer I can give, he approached. Megan, I know this isn't what you wanted, but that video they sent you, that was the opening, not the end. Kozlov wants to hurt me, and he knows the best way is through the people I care about. We are not your responsibility. Yes, you are, he said firmly. Absolutely. When I decided to protect you, I made you mine. This is not something I did lightly, nor something I would abandon halfway. The possessiveness in his voice should have made me angry. On the contrary, fatigue took precedence. What about Emma's school, my job? We have lives, Alex. Emma transferred to a private school with better security. I know the principal. He owes me a favor. He had clearly considered this. You can work from here. The house has a studio space you can convert into for photography. Or you can work during your break when Emma recovers. I'll pay for it. I don't want your money. Then consider it compensation for the danger that my world brought to your gate. His voice softened slightly. I am not trying to control you. I am trying to keep you alive. Our conversation was interrupted by a knock on the door. Marcus entered, his expression stern, without waiting for permission. Boss, we have a problem. Alex immediately straightened up. What kind? Christopher. Marcus took out his phone and showed Alex something on the screen. Security footage from the warehouse. The color drained from Alex's face. Show me. Marcus pulled up the camera on Alex's computer. The granular night vision display of the warehouse from an external angle. The timestamp indicates it occurred 3 hours before the kidnapping. A figure approached the building and walked to the side door. The camera angle captured his profile as he glanced back. Christopher DeRuca. Alex clenched his fist. When was this filmed? The day of the kidnapping, 12:48 p.m. Marcus's voice remained carefully neutral. He was there before Emma was taken away, before we even knew she was missing. He arranged it, I heard myself say, the realization like a physical blow. Your brother helped them kidnap her. Not just help. Alex's voice turned deadly quiet. He may have provided intelligence, school schedules, security loopholes, pickup and drop-off procedures. They need to take everything from her cleanly. Isabella appeared at the door, her face pale. Giuliano, tell me what I didn't hear, what I thought I heard. Alex turned to his mother. Christopher betrayed us. He gave the Russians the information that they needed to take Emma away. No. Isabella shook her head, her rosary clenched tightly. No, he won't. Not after Sophia. He knows what it feels like to lose a child. That is exactly why he would do it, Alex said, his jaw clenching. He wants me to feel what he feels. He wants me to understand the pain of watching a child disappear. He is sick, Isabella protested. He is broken. He doesn't know what he is doing. He knows exactly what he is doing, Alex said, pulling out his phone. Marcus, where is he right now? The final known location is an apartment in the city center, the one you arranged for him after he moved out. Send a small team, bring him here. Giuliano. No, Isabella moved between him and Marcus. He is your brother. He put Emma in danger. He allied himself with the man who killed his own daughter. Alex's voice cracked slightly. He is not my brother anymore, Mom. He is a threat. The pain in Isabella's eyes was unbearable. Please, before you do anything you are planning, let me talk to him first. As his mother, just one conversation. Alex's expression was stone, but after a long pause, he nodded once. A conversation, and then his response. 2 hours later, Christopher was taken to the mansion. He wasn't handcuffed or restrained, but he was escorted by Marcus and 2 other men who made it clear to him that he couldn't leave without permission. He looked worse than the last time I saw him. Thinner, with sallow skin and bloodshot eyes. The smell of alcohol clung to him even from the other side of the room. Isabella met him in the formal living room. Alex watched from the doorway, his arms crossed. I stood behind him, and Emma was safely upstairs with a family worker that Isabella trusted. Christopher, Isabella said, her voice breaking. Tell me they were wrong. Tell me you didn't help those men take that little girl. Christopher gave a wry smile. Which girl? The one Alex used to replace Sophia. The child he flaunts, as if our daughter never existed. Emma is not a substitute. Isabella's voice trembled. She is a little girl who needs protection. What about Sophia? What about my daughter? Christopher's voice rose. Where was the protection when she needed it? Where was the family when she died on that restaurant floor? That wasn't Alex's fault, Isabella said in despair. Isn't that right? Christopher turned his bloodshot gaze to Alex. It was you who refused to negotiate. Brother, because Alex's pride valued nothing more than compromise, you killed her. Alex's expression didn't change, but I saw his hands clench into fists. So you decided to make him suffer the same pain, I said, unable to remain silent, by intimidating a 5-year-old girl who had nothing to do with what happened to Sophia. Christopher's eyes found me. You don't understand. None of you understand. He needs to know what helplessness feels like, watching loved ones disappear, knowing you can't save them. But he did save her. My voice was icy. Which means your plan failed. All you did was prove you are as broken as everyone feared. Christopher charged at me, his features contorted with rage. Alex moved faster than I had ever seen him, intercepted his brother, grabbed him by the throat with one hand, and slammed him against the wall. No, Alex said, his voice like the Arctic. Don't even breathe in her direction. Marcus and the others stepped forward, but Isabella raised her hand to stop them. Giuliano, she whispered. Let him go. Alex released Christopher, who leaned against the wall, panting. Isabella approached her young son and cupped his face in her hands. I love you, I've always loved you. But what you did, I can't forgive you, not yet, maybe never. Tears streamed down Christopher's face. Mom, no. She stepped back. After that, you are on your own. You are exiling me. I am keeping you alive, Alex said calmly. If it weren't for your mother's request, you'd be underground by now. This is more mercy than you deserve. Christopher bent down to pick up the envelope, his hands trembling. He looked at each of us in turn, his gaze lingering on Isabella before Marcus escorted him out. The moment the door closed, Isabella collapsed into her chair, her decades of strength finally crumbling. I moved to sit next to her and took her hand. I am sorry, she whispered. I am sorry he hurt your daughter. You are not responsible for his choices. But I am his mother. I raised him. Where did I fail so badly that he turned out like this? Alex knelt before her and took her other hand. You didn't fail, Mom. Christopher failed himself. He chose grief over healing, revenge over family. It is not your fault. Isabella pulled us both closer, grabbing onto us like we were grabbing a lifeline. Later, after Isabella went to rest, and Alex disappeared to deal with any lingering effects from his brother's exile, I found myself in the garden. Emma played and laughed on the nearby grass as Isabella's little dog chased her in circles. The voices of normal children are so out of place with the violence that surrounds us. Marcus appeared beside me. Miss Collins. Megan, I corrected myself automatically. Megan. He nodded. The boss wants me to tell you that the threat level has just dropped significantly. With Christopher gone and the Russians dispersed, you are fairly safe, but it is not completely safe. No, his honesty was refreshing. Kozlov is still out there, but he is weakened. He has lost his inside sources. He has lost his men. He has lost his leverage. He will rebuild, but it will take time. Months, maybe longer. Long enough time to feel that we can breathe again. That is up to you, Marcus glanced at Emma. It is worth mentioning that I worked for Alex for 8 years. I saw him lose people and gain people. I made tough decisions that most people couldn't bear. I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you and your daughter. In what way? Like he would burn the world down, if that means guaranteeing your safety. Marcus's expression was unreadable. I just think you should know. He walked away, leaving me to watch Emma play, wondering how I got here, how a chance encounter in a coffee shop led to this moment, and how the protection of a mafia boss felt less like a cage and more like home. The answer terrified me more than the danger, because somewhere I've stopped wanting to leave. 3 months passed in a blur of what seemed like an impossible family life. Emma thrives at her new private school, making friends and laughing again. Her nightmares became less frequent, and when they did come, she would walk down the corridor to where Alex worked late at night, climb onto his lap, and wait until the fear subsided. I transformed the sunroom of my mansion into a photography studio, taking on select clients and building a portfolio that truly reflects my skills, rather than a sense of despair. Money is no longer a source of persistent panic. And Alex is everywhere and nowhere. He was always there, even when business took him away for a few days. We haven't discussed what we are to each other yet. We haven't marked how his hand finds my lower back when we walk together, or how I start waiting for him when he works late at night. Emma calls him Alex, but it means something closer to his father. It is easier and safer not to name it. Ryan's guardianship case fell apart without a trial. After Victoria Hale submitted evidence of her violent history, her lawyer withdrew, and the evidence somehow kept multiplying. It was undoubtedly Alex's doing, though he never admitted it. The Russians remained silent. There were no attacks, no threats, and no sign of Kozlov except for intelligence reports that he was licking his wounds somewhere in Eastern Europe. Life feels almost normal, almost. I know it can't last. It will arrive on Tuesday afternoon. Emma is at school, I am editing wedding photos, and Alex should be at the port handling business. But something felt off. The tension in the air reminded me of the days leading up to the kidnapping. My phone buzzed. Alex's name appeared on the screen. Come to my office now. No explanation, no pleasantries. Just an order, the kind he uses in critical situations. I noticed him standing by the window, looking down at the garden, his shoulders tense. Marcus was standing nearby, along with 2 other people I recognized from Alex's security team. "What is wrong?" I asked. Alex turned around, and the expression on his face chilled me to the bone. "Kozlov is dead." I blinked. "This is good news, isn't it? The threat is gone." "Yes, unless he didn't die of natural causes." Alex brought up something on his computer and rotated the monitor so I could see it. The grainy security camera footage shows a man sitting in a chair with blood on his lower body. He was executed. Professional strike, clean and efficient, 2 days ago in Prague. Who killed him? That is the problem, Alex said, his jaw tightening. Because whoever did it left a business card. He zoomed in on the image on the wall behind Kozlov's body. Someone had painted a symbol, a crown covering crossed swords. What does this mean? This is the Bellini family's trademark. Organized crime in Italy. Headquartered in Naples, but with operations all over Europe. They are old, school, powerful, and they don't do things without a strategic purpose. Why did they kill Kozlov? That is what I need to figure out, he said, looking at Marcus. Is there any communication? No direct evidence. But what is being said on the street is that the Bellini family has been consolidating their territory. They've been opposing Russian interests across Europe for the past 6 months. Now they've made a statement by taking down one of the most connected Russian operators in the game, Alex said gravely, which means they're sending a message. For whom? I asked, though the fear had already settled in my stomach. Alex's eyes met mine. As for me, the Bellini family knew about the conflict with Kozlov. They knew he attacked my family. By killing him, they either offered an alliance or announced their intention to fill the power vacuum he left behind. How did you know which one it was? I don't know yet. He turned back to Marcus. Increase security on all properties. Double the guards at Emma School. Find out everything Bellini has done in the United States over the past year. After Marcus left, Alex moved to the crystal decanter on his desk and poured himself a glass. His hands were steady, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. This will never stop, will it? I whispered. One threat ends, another begins. No, it won't. He took a sip and stared into the void. This is my world, Megan. It always has been. I want you to be safe, whether with me or somewhere far away from me where my enemies can't use you as leverage. Either way, I'll make sure you are protected. The proposal hangs between us, a cautiously neutral stance. He gave me an exit, a chance to walk away before the next crisis strikes. I should accept it. We should grab Emma and run to some quiet place where mafia politics and territorial disputes can't reach us. Instead, I crossed the room to where Alex was standing. What if I don't want to leave? His expression changed, his face a battle between hope and fear. Then you need to understand what that means. the danger won't end. Every choice I make creates enemies. Every alliance I forge comes with complexity. You and Emma will always be potential targets. We've been targets, I said, reaching out to touch his face. We've been since our first night at that cafe. Walking away now won't erase what these people know about us. I can relocate you, a new identity, a new life, in a place they'd never even think of looking for. And I'll never see you again. The words came out more fragile than I expected. I'll never see you teaching Emma Italian again. Or watch Isabella spoil her with pastries, just disappear, pretending none of this ever happened. You will live, you will be safe, we'll be lonely. I locked my gaze on him. Emma has lost enough. She lost her father to violence and material abuse. When we ran away, she lost the only home she knew. Now she has finally found stability, found family. Do you want me to take that away from her? I want her to grow up. His voice cracked slightly. To have a future that isn't shrouded in my choices. Then let's make a different choice. In my mind, the solution seemed so simple. You have consolidated your territory, eliminated threats, and established dominance. Instead of always preparing for the next war, why not strive for actual peace? Alex gave a wry smile. Peace is impossible in my world. Why not? Because no one has tried it before, or because trying it means admitting you are tired of violence. The words landed like a physical blow. Alex put down his cup and gripped the edge of the desk tightly. You don't understand what you are asking for. Then explain it to me. He remained silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was raw and primal. My father spent his life building what I now control. He died defending it. My sister was murdered by an adversary who saw her weakness. Sophia, Christopher's daughter, was captured in the crossfire of a war I could have stopped. Everyone I've ever loved has paid the price for this world. You think I'll be next? I leaned closer. Or Emma, that is why you keep giving me chances to leave. Yes. What if we choose to stay anyway? What if we decide it is worth the risk? Alex's dark eyes locked onto me, and I saw everything he had been suppressing. Fear, longing, desperate hope. And perhaps this time it could be different. Megan, the office door burst open. Marcus stood there, holding his phone, looking anxious. Boss, we have an update. A delivery man just brought this to the front door. He held up an envelope, made of expensive butter paper, with a wax stamp. The symbol pressed into the wax cannot be mistaken. A crown covering crossed swords. Alex took the envelope, broke the seal, and pulled out a card. As he read, his expression became cautiously blank. What did it say? I asked. This is an invitation, he said, handing me the card, to attend a meeting tonight, at the Bellini family's estate in the northern part of the state. I read the elegant handwriting. It said they wished to discuss issues of common interest regarding territorial arrangements and future cooperation. This is a game of power, Alex said, retrieving the card. They've eliminated my enemies. Now they want to negotiate how we divide the spoils. Are you going? I must. Refusing would be seen as a weakness. I must invite them to oppose me directly. He looked at Marcus. Complete security details. I want route reconnaissance, exit confirmation, and backup team in place within 5 minutes. It is already being done, Marcus replied. After he left, Alex turned to me. I need you to take Emma to the safe house in Connecticut. Marcus will drive you. Leave within an hour. Number, he blinked. This is not a discussion. You are right? No, I said, crossing my arms. You can't just send us away every time there is danger. If we do that, if we really stay, then we'll deal with it together. Megan, these people are your potential new ally based on that invitation. So go to your meeting. Do your negotiations. Go home safely. I softened my tone a bit. We'll have dinner here with Isabella. Watch a movie completely normal. Show these Bellinis that you have something worth fighting for, beyond territory and pride. Alex stared at me for a long time. Then slowly, he pulled me toward him, his arms wrapping tightly around me. When did you become so brave? He whispered in my hair. From the day I realized running couldn't guarantee our safety. I stepped back to meet his eyes. So go on, get your business done. Then come back and let me know how it is going. What if things don't go well? Then Marcus will take us to safety, and you'll burn everything down. I managed a smile. I am learning how your world works. He kissed me then, intensely and desperately, filled with things we didn't say aloud. When he finally pulled it open, his eyes were bright. I love you, he said simply. I've loved you ever since you sat across from me in that coffee shop, trusting me and your daughter to be safe. Tears blurred my vision. I love you too, so don't do anything foolish tonight. Definitely stupid. Anything that prevents you from coming home to us. He kissed me quickly again, then pulled away. I'll be back before midnight. Marcus, you stay here. Marco and his team will stay with me. After Alex left, I found Emma and Isabella making cookies in the kitchen. My daughter's hands were covered in flour, but her laughter shone with a radiant freedom. Where is Alex? She asked when she saw me. Business meeting. He'll be back late. I ruffled her hair. How about we have a movie night, popcorn and everything? Emma's eyes lit up. Can we watch a princess movie? What do you want to see, baby? The older woman caught my eye as Isabella helped Emma wash her hands. She knew something was happening. She could sense the tension I was trying to hide. He'll come back, she whispered. Alex always comes back. How can you be so sure? Isabella smiled. Because now he has a reason more important than pride or territory. He has you, he has Emma, he has family again. I slowly crawled through the hours. We watched a movie, ate too much popcorn, and Emma eventually fell asleep next to me. I carried her to the bed, tucked her in, and then went back to the living room, where Isabella had already made tea. He should be calling now, I said, checking my phone for the 20th time. These things take time, Isabella said, pouring tea with a steady hand. Negotiation, posturing, establishing dominance, it is all part of the dance. At 11:43 p.m., the car headlights swept across the window. I was at the door before the car stopped, and when Alex appeared unharmed, a sense of relief washed over me. He looked tired, but he had won. When he saw me waiting, his expression softened to the point that made my heart flutter. It is done, he said, pulling me into his arms. The Bellini family wants an alliance. They'll control the European operations, and I'll keep the American territory. No conflict, no competition. They even provided intelligence on the remaining Russian units. So, we're safe. It is safer. There will always be risks, but this removes the biggest threat from the table. He cupped my face in his hands. I told them about you, about Emma. I made it clear that hurting my family would mean all-out war. What did they say? Family is sacred. They respect a man who puts his person before power. Alex smiled slightly. I think they're surprised I admit there are people I care about more than power. Are you surprised that you admitted it? No, he kissed my forehead. I've known for months. I was just waiting for you to be ready to hear it. Later, after Isabella went to sleep, and the house settled into quiet, Alex and I stood in the garden under the stars, which somehow seemed brighter than before. What will happen now? I asked. Now we live. He pulled me closer. We raise Emma. We build something that is not just about survival. We prove that existence is possible in this world without letting it devour everything. Good. Do you really think we can do it? And you? Yes, he lifted my chin. You walked into my life by chance and changed everything. You reminded me of what I fight for, beyond territory and revenge. What is that? You, Emma, Isabella, Marcus. Family. The kind of family worth dying for, and more importantly, the kind worth living for. I kissed him under the stars, savoring promises and hopes, and the beginning of something I once thought impossible. We are not safe. We will never be completely safe, but we're together. We choose this. That was its own victory. When we finally got inside, I took one last look at Emma. She slept peacefully, one hand curled under her cheek, her golden hair spread out on the pillow. She felt safe, knowing that she was protected and loved. Alex appeared in the doorway behind me, looking at me with an expression that contained everything he had previously been too cautious to show. She is ours, I whispered. No matter how it started, no matter what brought us together, she is yours now, just like I am. I knew, his voice rough with emotion. From the moment I saw her trembling in that coffee shop, I knew I would protect her. I just didn't realize I would end up loving both of you. We stood there together, watching Emma sleep, and I understood that this was what mattered. It is not about danger, violence, or the complex politics of Alex's world. This moment, this family we built from chance, necessity, and choice. This was not the ending I expected when I walked into that coffee shop 3 months ago. It was one of despair and loneliness. That is better. Over